Well, good morning.
Hey, Gary.
It's 5 o'clock somewhere, right? Well, today is September 18th, 19th, who knows, who cares? Alright. So, I am here in a place that is unknown for the most part, but for all legal purposes, like I say, things of which I'm going to say is 100% jokes. They're lies, they are exaggerations, they are, they could be true, they could not be true. YOLO, right? So, just first of all, thank you very much for showing up. I do believe we have at least 2 or 3 more people than what showed up at Biden's campaign. So thank you very much. So let's go ahead and start the game. As most of you know, that I have at least a few colleagues here from different departments, and although I'm not going to specify individual names, individual department names, and stuff like that, I'm going to keep it as vague as possible, but I do believe there's a possibility that you might understand what I'm referring to. When I'm on the phone, and I have this is the customer speaking. When I don't have this, it's me speaking. So therefore you understand what the customer hypothetically might have said at one point or not, and what we might have said or exaggerated, YOLO, or what we're thinking. So, one thing that we're all told, from little kids to elderly, there's no such thing as a stupid question, right? Well, hello, customer service. I have a complaint. All right, do tell. What is this complaint you have? My shower is wet. So you have a clog, right? It's got to be like 2-3 inches deep, overflowing, and it is potential of mold, right? Clog? No. Why would it be clogged? It's wet. Well, you do realize we work and we have the, how do I say this? It's like a hostel. Everyone shares the same latrine. Well, that don't matter. My shower is wet. Are you kidding me? Because you realize you want our people to fix a wet shower. What do you think this is? Marriott? I'm sorry. No. I'm not going to have our plumbers fix a wet shower unless it's leaking from the roof, just like the good old cadence. Well, so I'm sorry. What can I do for you? Just put in a work order and I'll be happy. Sure. All right. Have a nice day. That was a real call. See, I don't understand why things are so extreme and absolute. There's always room for error. And when you're working with customers, whether you're a plumber, an electrician, or whatever, you probably have days where you wonder, how have you got electrocuted, drowned yourself, or got hit by at least 3 bolts of lightning? Well, one thing you definitely learn is we have the best healthcare on the planet, where let's be honest, Darwin's just not allowed to do his job, right? All right, so I'm walking I'm walking down, and I see a bunch of bubbling coming out of the sewer, right? And I'm like, what the heck is happening? Oh, I hear some movement, some commotion. plumbers. They're coming, and it takes them, due to their expertise, like 30 seconds, maybe even less, and they say, baby wipes. Immediately, I don't know if it's experience or if that's the only thing that breaks their system, they're immediately able to tell what is the problem and what the solution is. But unfortunately, our hands are tied. See, if people constantly use baby wipes, and due to someone's foresight, why don't we go ahead and include baby wipes in everything on every single bathroom, right? And some people may be wondering if there could be a simple solution to a relatively easy problem. No. We have to have the 99-cent sale at the local store, right? But hey, that's first world problems, right? When I was in the military, about 4 or 5 years ago, baby wipes made sense. You don't have showers, you don't have a lot of the facilities and a lot of the capabilities that we have here. Well, c'est la vie, right? One other problem that we all tend to have is, I don't know, rodents. Maybe a local spider, a couple of ants, and stuff like that, right? Well, sometimes I wonder what type of phone calls pest control have. Since it is sometimes something that just boggles me on how one person can come on in and say, hey, you have any rat traps, mouse traps, and by the way, a lot of customers that come here, everything's a rat. I say, how big is this? Is it 1 inch? Is it a foot long? No, it's only 1 inch. Well, then maybe it's a mouse. Well, does it really matter? Well, a rat trap, for those of you who haven't dealt with pest control, is a little heavier. So a rat trap, whether you're using a teeter-totter system or you're using a spring snap system, a mouse, a shrew, or something, a mole can just sit on that trap, enjoy that delicious peanut butter you get from the local bakery here or whatever you get, and it's eating better than you are, right? Well, there is what people expect and reality. For example, I got a mouse problem. No problem. Where do you live? I live at this area. Cool. All right. So before I send out pest control to irradiate all these rats, I have to read you something. Okay. One, is your area clean since we're going to inspect it? Oh shit. We gotta make sure you don't have any clothes, garbage, or anything where would naturally be a good habitat for a rat. Oh shit. So, do you have any problem with that? Nah. You're all good. All right. I'll put in a work order, and when we can, we'll go ahead and take care of that. Dude, we're getting an inspection in like 15 minutes. Clean this shit up. We have to rent a shop bag. We have more clothes and food on the walls, on the floors, and all over the place. It's 15 minutes before the rat trap guy comes and basically shuts this place down. This is me taking an educated guess. Since let's be honest, I haven't dealt with mouse or problems of that sort ever since I worked at a school when we were cleaning air ducts. Let's just say without the oversight of OSHA. So I'm a nice small size, and I'm going inside the air ducts, since they used to be really big and wide, and I'm like, oh, what the hell is that down there? I'm crawling over there. I take my stick and I'm zapping it. I'm like, oh damn! I now know what a petrified pigeon looks like. Since apparently air ducts, they are not good places to live, and that pigeon found out very quickly. But that's one benefit of working many different jobs, from cleaning schools to working in restaurants to being in the military in general. You really get to see many different problems. From basic trainings, I learned some people don't know what to do with a mop if they're like the Benjamins. They'll just take the mop, grab it, right on the ground, push it, and then say, floor's clean, it's wet. No, that's not mopping. And I'm sure some of you have seen some people where basic cleaning was not taught at any age. And that is a chronic problem that I've seen at many jobs. For example, when I was a cook at Company X, we had a problem with people not understanding how a pop machine worked. So one night I'm closing down the store, and then I'm disassembling the pop machine, and someone comes over and says, "What are you doing?" And I'm like, "I'm properly disassembling and sanitizing the pop machine." But if you disassemble it, it's not going to look like a slushy when you pour it. That's the point. But anyone who's worked for either a movie theater or a restaurant realizes that those gaskets and those nozzles and heads will attract the goop and stuff like that. Since you order slime pretty much in a box, and you mix it with water, and that's where your soda fountain comes out. Most people don't realize that until they actually work in the background. And honestly, I recommend most people to either send their kids or you yourself work in a restaurant, because you get to see how food is properly, or more importantly, improperly prepared. And one thing you learn very quickly is you can look at a person and look at the people in the back and know within a few seconds, I'm betting the hand wash station has been broken for probably a month, and no one knows. But c'est la vie, right? Now, going around and making sure that we can do our jobs, and we're ordering parts and everything like that. We're all excited, gung ho. Let's get her done, right? But then you have this department who's solely responsible. I swear, their sole responsibility is to say no. And then we're like, hey, I found some extra pallets. Hey, that's a pallet is just 6 2x4s, right? And then before you know it, you have shelving and decks on every living area. Now, one thing that is similar to this place versus college life is you have the shared dorms, you have the artistic talent, you have people artistically creeping in on areas where they shouldn't be. So you're trying to drive your rig, whether it be a forklift or your ATV, and then before you know it, you look behind you and you're dragging someone's tarp or campus, and you're like, cardboard camel net, not so bad since it's not attached to the current structure. Because if you're dragging the current structure, well, that's a bad day for everyone, right? Another thing about creativity is people's creativity in logic. You have an air-conditioned unit, right? So, you think this area is a little warmer than Arizona, or at least definitely Minnesota, right? So, people think you put a shade over an air conditioner, right? It's going to be cooler. No. That's not good enough. We have to put a box. We have to make it look like a refrigerator. Therefore, it's getting the maximum amount of cool air as possible. And the high-speed team ran a few tests and said, congratulations, your refrigerator now added another 10 degrees to your tent. And how do you fix this problem? I don't know. Drop the cooler since it don't work. And some people are like so adamant, or as soon as these HVAC people leave, we'll put it right back up. And then 30 seconds later, they're calling and they're saying, man, our AC is not functioning, it's not working. And I understood possibly the problem for when I worked on computers back in the day. I used to tell customers, you have a laptop, right? And you love the laptop, but it gets a little toasty. So what do you do? Well, naturally, people would put a pillow on their lap, and then they go ahead and put a laptop on top of the pillow. And I said, all right, that's not going to work. Let me explain to you like this. You have a baby or something like that, right? And you go ahead and put a pillow over the air pipes of the baby, right? It's gonna work for a while, but eventually it's gonna crash the system. This is the benefit of actually diversifying your work portfolio. You actually get to see different perspectives from ditch digging to well, the dangers of pillows, right? But yet some people just can't get it. So some people have said, hey, what we should do is put safety labels on absolutely everything. Everything. We should make it where garbage bags don't put over your head. Earplugs don't swallow. Hammers don't hit on your head. Everything, right? You would have to go through a manual bigger than a field manual just to operate a screwdriver. Well, then some people debate the pros and cons of this, and I'm like, do you realize almost every theater has a bar clearly labeled emergency exit only? I don't know how many times you've gone to the movie theater, but twice. And I'm not a rich man. I don't go to the movie theaters every single year. Twice, I have heard the alarm of someone thinking, oh, this is exit, come on, people don't read. And you can't blame the education system because people don't pay attention. And they are very slow learners. How many people do you see text and drive? Well, I can tell you who texts and drives, usually with a high degree of accuracy, based on people who do smaller warning signs. For example, walk and text. And what's the dangers of walking and texting? Plumbers, have you ever seen someone walk pretty close to a manhole and not freaking see they're about to, well, get some shit on them, right? But they don't care. And hell, there's people who have sunk like dropped or been nearly hit by cars a few times, and they still don't learn. our own talk, right? Another thing that you see, one shop, I was having a good, honest debate, and it was a high quality debate. Both myself, not Terracell, myself and the other debater. I won't say opponent, since there were some things we agreed on, some things we didn't agree, and we had a good half hour, maybe hour-long debate. I lose track of time very, very quickly. For all I know, holy cow, it's already 8 o'clock. And the problem with our systems and stuff is we get grouped up and we don't want to debate. And this is a problem because in high school and college, it is not only frowned upon, just saying certain words under hate speech can get you kicked out. And you're like, what words are deemed hate speech? Oh, well, Merry Christmas in some colleges, since, let's be honest, not everyone is a Christian, right? And I'm like, if I know you're a Jew, I'm going to say Happy Hanukkah. I don't care. Let's be honest, most people who say Merry Christmas are pagans anyway. But at the end of the day, they keep wanting to add hate speech laws or hate speech laws, and before you know it, you cannot utter anything without risking being fired, laying off, being written up, and counseled at many different degrees and portions. And this is a very big problem. The debate that we had covered economics, social policies, and we covered a fair amount. That was where we both had good positive growth. When I first got to this paradise, I had someone come approach me and state that I was saying something very, very racist. And I'm like, okay, what did I say that was so racist that it offended you third party down? Okay? So he told me, and I said, at no point did I say any specific race. I just stated harming police is bad, and if you can't protect the or at least stick up for the people who want to protect you, this is a big problem. And the media exaggerates or downright lies our reality, and even the people who sometimes see the entire video, the entire clip, just can't believe it, and they automatically assume that everything is against them. And I'm like, all right. Back in high school, I used to be mostly Democrat, not 100%, since I thought rapists and murderers should have an expedited process. But hey, YOLO. But I changed after I met my very, very first batshit crazy feminist. I used to agree with a lot of the different decisions, and this, for context, was during Bush's time. I still joined the military. I still respected the people in uniform. YOLO, right? But the first batshit crazy feminist made me relook at everything. And why was she batshit crazy? At first, she said, "Oh yeah, I'm a feminist. All right, cool. I don't know what that is. Tell me, what is a feminist?" All right. Well, since you obviously don't know, you are part of the patriarchy problem. Wait, patriarchy? I can't even spell the word stop. What is this? What is this? Well, obviously, since you're cis, another word I didn't know at the time, white, I know that one, and male, which apparently doesn't have a definition anymore. um, that this I wasn't allowed to have the opportunity to talk to a feminist. And I'm like, wait, so because I don't understand something, you say I don't deserve the right to talk to you. Is that really what your stance is? So obviously, why should I support feminism or feminists or stuff like that? Since, to the best of my knowledge, you had Annie Oakley. Apparently, I learned afterwards, since they're in college and in high school, you get a lot of harping on re-edited history. But I learned that Annie Oakley used to be a feminist back in the day. For those of you who don't know, Annie Oakley used to be a person who was an expert stunt marksman. She used to be able to hit a bullseye three times before it hit the ground. But a lot of modern feminists, I found out, really hate her. Why do they hate someone who competed with males, won a lot of competitions, and she said, I did not win it because I'm a female. I won it because I'm a good shot. And that's how it should be. And may the best person win, right? But a lot of feminists had a problem with that since, well, ironically, females should have guns. I'm like, are you serious? Do you understand this logic of your statement? You are automatically genderizing and throwing someone into a pile of enemy just because of one thing. And Annie Oakley had a lot of positive things to her name, and she gets ragged on by the modern feminists almost every time I hear. And this has happened many times. Now, it's only before long before Martin Luther King Jr. is the enemy of the left. And you're like, how is this possible? Well, obviously, with the tearing down of statues in our country, you see like George Washington Carver torn down, George Washington torn down, Abraham Lincoln torn down. Who have I never heard tore down? Oh, I've never seen a picture or a statement that Lenin was torn down, Karl Marx was torn down, or other great thinkers. But hey, I'm just old school, right? Now, besides politics, so lately I've been trying to step away from that since obviously I am not necessarily a Republican, since let's be honest, what I do not like is communism. I want to do anything to push back and delay the mass genocides of which every communist state will have. Name one country that has switched to communism that hasn't had a mass execution, mass genocides, or something like that. You can't. And the thing is, it's random. It's like, we hate this group of people, we hate this group of people, we hate the rich, the successful, and now we hate the poor and the decrepit. It's like, who do you like? Anyone in power. What? But hey, YOLO, right? Well, super YOLO for them, right? But hey, then back to our workspace. Another thing that you see is the fact that in our current area, we get to see a lot of different people. I get to work with people from India. I get to work with people from obviously the U.S., from multiple different branches. I get to work with people all over the local region and the wider region. And sometimes I talk to them and find out. That's one thing that I believe that more people need to do. Talk to people outside of your knowledge base. For example, I was offering water, and for some reason I was saying pure, it's like a drink. thought I was speaking their local language, and then they were immediately speaking their local language to me. I'm like, whoa! I just said Piotr. If I said something wrong, tell me. No. We just assumed you spoke our local language. I'm like, that's funny. That's what everyone in the military has ever thought. They obviously they automatically think because of my dialect and because of my poor English, they automatically assume that I'm a Russian spy, a French, heck, a Romanian spy, Ukrainian. I've had people think when I was in the army, I was an Afghan spy. And I'm like, you realize I'm wearing your uniform, right? But apparently, their always response was, hey, that's what a spy would say. So what would the spy say? Well, it's me, turn me in. Well, I'm not going to say that either. So how are you supposed to prove innocence? This is a problem that people are having on social media. They can't prove innocence even with video evidence. For example, then you have the people who are of greater caliber who are like, hey, let's do a crime and then post it immediately on Facebook. Why are the cops at my house? Are you serious? If you're a crook that robs a bank or robs a grocery store, then immediately breaks out online. Yo, guess what I did? Oh man, that's so cool. Really? You are asking to be jailbait. Seriously, but whatever. I'm just going through the list. All right. Next topic. Now, the word corruption is used a lot at many different levels. Your character is corrupt. You are corrupt for taking money. You are corrupt for doing this, and you are doing that, and everyone is corrupt automatically, right? Well, I'm like, all right, cool. What is your definition of corruption? And some people will respond, anytime you get something that I don't. And I'm like, well, that's not corruption. It can be, but that's not a definition. And I'm like, all right. So why are you? When I was in the army, someone wanted to write me up for misuse of funds. And I'm like, all right, cool. Put it on a document, give it to Jay, and let them chase me down. But first, tell me, why am I misusing military funds? Well, we believe you are selling our Army tan underwear and socks online because you have so many of them. And I'm like, you give me a monthly stipend and for clothing allowance. And some people are buying uniforms, some people are buying like hats or PT uniforms and stuff like that. And I'm like, you know what? When someday I'll leave the army, I'm gonna want something to wear that's good, high quality, and that will last a few years. So I'm gonna buy socks, underwear, t-shirts, scarves, and actual functional things. And said, Hager, I have to ask you, are you selling Army tan underwear online? And I'm like, I promise you, sir, I'm gonna wear these suckers for the next 10 years. I'm that much of a cheap ass. And, well, it's about 10 years, so I'm cycling them out. So, and the best part is, I now definitely can't sell them online. And that's the thing. There's a lot of people who might think you're jolly, happy-go-lucky, and they sometimes automatically assume you're up to something. Oh, you're happy. You must have done done some weird thing last night. I don't know. Oh, what made you so happy? And I'm like, man, I just saw a triple rainbow just last night. Well, you forgot me 3 freaking days in the guard tower. I don't know if it was real or hallucination. Either way, I'm off guard ship. So, yoo-hoo! It doesn't mean I'm corrupt. And many different people are automatically assume this, and there has to be massive investigation, and people are guilty until proven innocent. We're heading towards that system, especially online, and that's why people are like, "Oh, what's your Facebook?" I don't touch that with a 3-foot pole. All right, what's your Twitter? I have plenty of birds outside. That's all the tweets I need. What's this? What's that? I just can't manage all of that stuff since you have to deal with that bureaucracy being censored and your own self well-being. I don't understand how people do it all the time, and people think, oh yeah, I am going to dress down to my skimpies and go ahead and take photos of it this way till Tuesday, right? This will never backfire, right? And then they go into politics, right? And well, as we know, you can't delete the internet. Biden someday will learn what the internet is, but well, he's a slow learner. He's only been in the Senate for what, 50 years? Too short, right? All right. I have to play catch up. Let's be honest. Not everyone is as quick as the Flash, I guess. But I that's one thing that I like about this current company. If you try, and this I've seen in many different workplaces, from working at schools to food to dealing with programming. As long as you show that you care about your job and you give a lot of effort, people will give you, especially your bosses, thankfully, will give you that extra time to create a plan, execute the plan. Even if you botch the plan, they will usually back you up, as long as you can prove that you at least thought it out, right? But here's the thing. Some plans are better than others. It's okay to ask for help, right? And I'm sure you guys have seen plans or lack thereof get executed, and then you wonder, you definitely did not ask for help. How do you know? Well, you have one bolt holding 5 boards together. It ain't gonna hold. But hey, that's a benefit of learning from your mistakes, and mistakes are important. I don't know why in high school and college and lower education, they're like, everyone has to get an A. Oh, Timmy, you drew I want to say a circle. I'm going to say you're done with geometry. Done. Come on. If someone is not up to par, that's okay. Especially when they're in school. It's okay to give someone a lower grade. It's okay for them to say, hey, that is not on par. I have to learn. And I have to learn pi is not something you eat. It is a math equation. And it looks more like a pot pie with a crust on top, right? But you've got to let kids learn, and they have to fail at a young age. I remember when I was a kid, biking home after hitting up a bunch of ramen sales. I had my bike cart behind me, I had my rock on, and I'm just biking, and this bike, since I was a kid, what you do is you walk over to the nearest junkyard, which is only, what, 8-10 miles away. You pick up a bike and you bike it back. You tend to destroy the rims, especially when there's no tires, but that's okay. That's why you can get another bike and you strap the wheels on your back while you rim it back. But you go ahead and you fix it good enough for it to function, and then you learn the value of preventative maintenance. I'm biking home, and I'm happy-go-lucky, and my sister's biking behind me, and I see her since I'm looking back, since I'm racing her, since the older brother has to race the siblings, and that's the responsibility of an older brother, right? And I'm looking back, and my sister's stopping like every a few feet, and I'm like, what is she doing? I'm like, all right, screw it. I'm getting these. I think I was picking up fencing parts for us to build a dog kennel, but that's not a long story. So I finally get home, and my sister comes home, and she's like, are these yours? And in front of her are a whole bunch of gears. And I'm like, where'd you get those? And she points at my bike. My 8 gears now 1 gear. That's okay, right? Since you learn preventative maintenance means you gotta oil it. You see rust on a sprocket, you either have to replace it or you have to go ahead and repair it. I learned that at a very young age, and I implement that with my vehicles today. I go ahead and deal with the filters. I deal with a lot of my vehicles, even my little car. I actually got in trouble a couple of times in the Army. I'm like, I have an extra 15 minutes before I have to go to a meeting, so I'm crawling underneath my car, making sure there's no rust or any damage to my vehicle. And they're like, Hager, you can't be lying on the ground. Why? I'm doing preventive maintenance. That is, there's a place and a time. And I'm like, hey, busy hands are happy hands, and idle hands is the devil's playground. So they're like, well, do you find anything? And I'm like, no, unfortunately, I didn't find anything. That same day, I ran into a lamppost. My personal vision is not very good, but hey, that's the downside of having some downsides. You're super excited to be all you can be gung ho. The world's your playground, right? Then you realize everyone has limitations. For example, my limitation is just. But besides that, I am mostly okay. And I work with that limitation, and my leaders have also worked with that limitation. For example, when I'm driving, you don't ride with me. That's for sure. But that's okay, since they know, hey, if you have a limitation, tell them. Oh, we have a full car here? By the way, I'm not blind, I just can't see. And if they jump out of the vehicle before you hit the first stop sign, you know they assess their pros and cons of every decision, right? Oh man, good old days, eh? But you see some people who go beyond their limitation. How many people have heard someone get injured playing basketball, getting injured at the gym? We had one co-worker, he was just jogging, and his knee blew out. Things happen, and you can't prevent everything. But if you know that you have been injured before, you have to realize, hey, there's a possibility that you might have to take it easy. And some people don't want to hit that reality. Man, I'm still under 50. I've got this. I've got this. Well, I left the Army when shit happened, but I still, up to that year, I was still able to shoot expert. So that's okay. So I did the best I could, but when the night vision sight, so for those who have never seen an AR or an M16 or an M4, the front post is a square notch like this. The back post, especially with M16, sometimes have two sights. One that's a pinhole and one that's big. You know it's time to change when the gas mask or the night sight, the big hole, and when I'm like, you know what? We've got some changes here. Well, I'm sure there's another person willing to hire me. Here I sit, right? So obviously, you may not want to give me certain jobs, but that's okay. The biggest thing is I know my limits and I execute accordingly. One limit that a lot of people have that is very, very bad is they don't know what their breaking point is in both a spiritual, emotional, physical, or whatever, and because they don't know where it is, sometimes if they go up to or past that, they can really snap and go bonkers. And how you go bonkers past your breaking point has very, very good key. It really tells a lot about a person. Some people, when they go bonkers, they go home, beat their wife, beat their kids, beat their dog. This is not good. It's obvious at a young age, they obviously didn't, they were never allowed to go to their limit. Some people, when they go bonkers, they're nice and quiet, chill, drink some beers, and they're good to go. It's like, car got torn up by a tornado 3 counties over, hit Oklahoma, shit happens. Those are the people who have experienced failure and loss at many, many different levels, and they know how to handle it. This is why I encourage people to have redundant plans for almost everything. And they're like, how can you have almost a redundant plan for everything? Well, imagination. So as the old TV show, Imagination Station, right? So you're sitting around and saying, all right, so what would happen if somebody came to my house, busted a window? You have to have a plan on how to do step by step, how you would do that and how you cope with that, right? And then you do the same with minor issues. Someone stole my phone, someone bugged me, someone threw me off a plane. Well, what do you want to do? Flap your eyes or just nosedive it? Hey, you gotta have a plan for everything, right? But hey, you can't survive from 10,000 feet elevation falling. 2 people have survived it without a parachute, so it happens. But this is what is very, very important. Some people take it a little too far. They're like, okay, if my phone breaks, since that is my ball and chain and everything is on there, I can't drive home, I can't drive to work, I completely forget what groceries to buy, and they're utterly lost. So they're like, all right, what would happen if I lost my phone? Well, then they go batshit crazy and go ahead and put themselves in a massive, massive panic, since there is different personalities. Some people who see a problem and they're like, how can I resolve that problem? Hey, I have a fear of starving. I could just get a cow for the backyard, or I could go ahead and be a prepper also known as using common sense, and have a little bit of a stockpile. And people need to realize all these preppers are not batshit crazy. People thought if you're a prepper, you're automatically batshit crazy. 2020 happened. Hey man, you got a buck? Well, like a chest of venison. Hey, I know you have a gas mask, right? or many different things. And then you realize the people who have plans tend to just sit back and laugh and watch people spend like $30 for N95 mask, or they'll go ahead and say, ooh, I will buy this super top secret mask that's got infinite filtration. You're wearing a ski mask. People don't think when they're under panic. Be prepared. Be ready. Because you never know what's coming up next. So, I'm gonna hit the end of my time. I was, you know what? Just let's YOLO. 2 questions. Someone give me, well, 2 individuals give me 1 question each, and let's see if we can make it funny. Someone raise their hand.
What's your favorite thing about customer service?
Oh, one nice thing about customer service is you have no idea what's coming up next. Someone could be coming here. I shit you not. This happens at least 3 times a day. They're at the a desk and they're like, "Hi, I need a trash bag right now." I've seen people rest their arm on the pile of trash bags and still ask for a trash bag. And I'm like, oh, you know what? I'm gonna play a game. Where's Waldo? You are warm. I'll tell you when you're warmer, colder, and sometimes it may take a little bit for them to find a trash bag when they enter our area. For those of you who don't know the office, you literally pass probably 1,000 trash bags to speak to us. So that so you don't know if someone's going to be like that or someone's going to be like, hey, I want my mail delivered. No, well, I want my mail. All right. You realize the post office is closed. Impossible. It's the locals' day off. All right, fine. 3 hours later, I want my mail. Post office is still closed. But hey, YOLO, right? Another question.
What's the most dangerous thing you ever done?
Intentionally or not intentionally? All right. Most dangerous thing I have intentionally done that won't get me in trouble. All right. Sometimes you just gotta live YOLO, right? Okay. In Minnesota, we have a mountain called Spirit Mountain. It's some, if you're in Arizona, that's a mountain, right? Well, we had a mountain like that. And I'm like, it took me a good damn near half hour to walk up it with my bicycle. Remember, PM your vehicles, including bikes. I don't care what it is. I don't care if it's a weed whacker, a bicycle, or your car. You gotta PM it. Since I'm like, you know what, that looks like a fun hill. So you walk up the hill, get to the top, and you're like, that's a pretty freaking steep hill. But you know what? That's okay. That's okay. I'm just gonna cruise down it, and it's gonna be okay. Well, I have depth perception problems. I thought it was only gonna be like 200 or 300 feet. Well, when you get on the bike and kick off, and you actually look all the way PM this bike. So with the older bikes, you used to have wires that went to your brake that was easily accessible, right? So I reached down and I'm yanking on this wire, right? Now again, it PM this vehicle. So all I hear is a snap. Shit. So I'm plowing down this hill, and so I don't have brakes. I may have misjudged how many rocks and debris was on this mountain for skiing, and I may have misjudged my ability of turning corners, and I may have misjudged the land of 10,000 lakes may have more trees than predictable, and so I'm plowing down this, and then I hit a rut. Hey, I'm airborne now. So that was, and you're like, that doesn't sound very intentional. Well, I was intending to bomb a hill. For those who aren't bicyclists, bombing a hill is when you just ride it and try and go 100 miles an hour. You're not making it 100 miles an hour. But you try because yellow. But it's a lot of fun. But do it on pavement. Don't do it on tall grass. So I intentionally wanted to have a lot of fun that day. What I learned is possibly the signs of like a concussion and how to do first aid. But I wasn't completely inept. You don't go biking without a helmet, long sleeves, boots, first aid kit, water, and the knowing where the local road is so you can crawl your way back. So, all right. So the most dangerous thing that I didn't want to do. Let's do it. Okay. I deployed with a very, very, very brilliant set of people to a very, very awesome country. When I say brilliant, I mean we're training to go to Afghanistan. So we're not there yet, but we're training. So we have someone who, let's just say, fails to have any form of common sense. So what they do is basically we get ambushed by a training group, and they are starting to just try and train as you fight. So that's what we're told in the army. So what they said in reality, what would you do is just run the enemy over. So they are actually trying to run over our blue force or red force. I forgot. Red versus blue. The bad guys. They're trying to run over the bad guys in reality. And I see this, and not all the bad guys are out in the open. So they don't know who they're actually going to run over. Since they thought, oh, we'll just scare them away. Well, not everyone saw that this was happening. So I am bolting towards this vehicle, shooting my blanks. Therefore, I get their attention, and I'm telling them to stop and stop and stop. Well, they thought I was with the enemy. Then I realized these knuckleheads were going to crush me with an armored Humvee. So I do like an about face, and I start blitzing the other way. Well, once again, may not have the best hand-eye coordination or stuff like that. Boom! I hit a rut and I roll in tall grass, and they're still booking it, and I see them so close that I don't somersault. I don't know what it's called, but I roll backwards, and they just buzz past my feet. I'm like, dang. That could have been one hell of a short deployment. But hey, yo, YOLO, right? All right. Any last questions, or is everyone done for the night?
Good job, man.
All right. I have 3 YouTube channels. One of them is Hager's Hangout. One of them is Sasha Solutions, and one of them is Sasha Hager. Just spelled ER, not AR. I'm not Hagar the Horrible. I guess the good one, because Team USA, right? All right. Thank you. Bye.